Acro critique video number 9. This is Guilherme Censoni out of Brazil. He says he's 39 years old. He's been flying since he was 19, and he's flying a laser that I think he may have built himself or had a part in building. Beautiful airplane. He says he goes by the name Sheriff in Brazil. So Sheriff, thank you very much for sending in a video. Let's take a look at how you're doing. Guilherme's going to be flying his CIVA Advanced Free Known sequence for us. First figure will be a pull to 45, a roll, and then pull vertical for a hammerhead. Pull 45, and that's steep. I do say it'd be a little steep, but that's too steep. That's getting close to 60 degrees. 50 is a good max. Pulling vertical looks good. Quarter roll. Oh, now the only thing I don't like on the quarter roll there is a little bit of drift, and I wonder what's causing it. I'm going to watch your aileron after the roll, and I think you're just trying to find how much aileron it takes to hold that. So maybe just keep practicing. Maybe you don't have enough time to know that, but we shouldn't see the wing moving so much as you're holding that line. So just keep practicing with that. Okay, hammerhead looks pretty good. Now we have a 3/4 positive snap down, which you must be doing to the right, yes. And oh, that's interesting. So the only thing about that, the snap looked good. I feel like that's a good snap. But what I thought was interesting is I could see your hand in the upper left corner there as you stopped, which I don't understand. So let's just look at that again. Snap is good. Interesting. Okay, so what I see for the few frames I have that show your hands, let's see if I can show this. What I see is the stick is on the right. It should be forward and to the right. It should be a pull. The rudder goes in, and then the stick needs to move forward. Now, it doesn't need to move as much forward to the right, I suppose, as it does to the left. But I think that's just too close to neutral. So expect it to be farther forward. And then as you continue with the snap to stop it, what I see at the very end, I don't know if I can find the frame. I might not be able to find it. But what I see is, yeah, there it was. Okay, I don't want to spend too much time looking, but there it is. There, I found it. Well, anyway, the stick is all the way on the left side and forward. That's not what I would expect to stop the snap. The stick could be forward because the snap might pull you and you need to push back to the line. That might be the case. But we don't need so much left aileron. Really don't need left aileron at all to stop a snap. So that makes me think the diagnosis would be that maybe this snap is largely driven by aileron and not enough driven by rudder, and that the stop, just for some reason in that technique, needs to be all the way over there. It's not what I expect to see. So that's a thought there for you to try out a snap that doesn't have that left aileron at the stop. See if you can get a good stop without that. Okay, let's look at it one more time. And I think it might be a little short after there as well, but let's move on to the next figure. Next figure is figure 2, which is a double Humpty. The first Humpty's clean, just pull vertical. And the line looks good. There's a good pull. And now we're going to pull over the top. And this is just one of these things where pull soft, now pull hard and hard and harder to get to the line. It might be closing a little low. With quarter roll, a little short after. Now we have pulled. It's another Humpty, so we pull to vertical. And there'll be a 2 of 8 here. And that's too much delay. You should go right away because you'll end up running out of energy. I think the stops look okay, but you should just go ahead and go right away in that situation. Here's a spin. Should be a 1-turn spin. So there's no spin entered until the nose is all the way down here. So I think that's just a case of not having enough energy here. When you come to the bottom Humpty, I know it's hard to set the line and then go right away, but right now, 2 of 8 won't go. And then pull over the top now while you still have energy, and then you can draw a line and drop the spin in. The spin entry is not good, and it's just because you're sagging and falling through. So, okay, that's all there is to that. Now we're going to pull P-loop. This looks good, good pull. We have a 3/4 followed by a 3 of 4 on top. 3/4 looks good. We could hold that more. 2, 3. Okay, need to hold those points more. The 3/4, hold it. Then 1, 2, 3, maybe even longer pauses. 1, 2, 3, something like that, whatever it is. But not such short pauses. The general rule of thumb is that the pause should be at least as long as it took you to get to that position. That's a good rule of thumb for you. Now we have a 180-degree roller with 2 inside rolls. And this is a slow roll rate, but I think you're maintaining the turn pretty well. Obviously, a lot of roll there without much turn at that one moment. That's the hard part of the roller, so I'm not surprised about that. And overall, I think that's a pretty good roller. Keep trying. Obviously, you end up a little cockeyed here. That's okay. Okay, half roll, half snap, and then pull. I'm not totally convinced about that snap. I'm not sure what to say about it again. So what's interesting about the snap, I notice, is that there's an opposite rudder right before the snap. I see the nose actually moved to the left just a little bit before the snap. And it seems like you're adding left rudder before the snap. I don't know what to make of that. The snap itself doesn't look bad. I think there could be more pitch and more rudder, but it's hard to diagnose more, so we'll just keep moving on. Okay, 2 of 4 followed by 2 of 2. Again, it feels very rushed. Feels rushed. We need to take some time and enjoy those point rolls. About twice as long. If you can hold them about twice as long, that's probably about right. And then, okay, wait, I think you went right into the next figure. Yeah, you did. So that's the 1.5. So that's figure 5. Let's see how much space we gave. 1, 2, and then 1, 2, and then 1.5. Okay, yeah, this is figure 6 now. It starts with a 1.5 roll, pull, half loop, and then 1.5 snap on top. You need a little more space between these figures. It just helps to make things breathe. One of the things you have to think about is there's a judge's line. There's a couple people, 3 people sitting together, and one of them is reading off the figures. Another one is writing down the scores and the comments, and the judge himself is actually, giving numbers, 8.5 hopefully, or 5.0 or whatever it ends up being. And they need to have some time to finish scoring a figure before the next figure begins, or else it's only to your detriment. If they get rushed or confused, it's going to affect your scores in a bad way. Even if they don't intend to, psychologically, if they feel rushed, they're probably not as happy, and happy people give better scores. So that's why I contend you're probably going to get better scores after a lunch break than you are before, but they can't control that. So that's just part of the game. But you do have to give them some room so they can make these scores correctly, and they can be heard, and they can then move on and get themselves set to watch the next figure. So that's just too close together to me. Okay, so pull, half loop, 1.5 snap. Okay, I'm not real sure about these snaps. This is the third one I've seen, right? Third one I've seen, and I want to look at this again. So what I notice here is the pitch and the roll are happening very quickly with each other. Sorry, I have to watch it a couple times to give you good advice. Yeah, so I feel like obviously you're running out of energy at the top, so let's go back to that. You need more energy in. You need to have a faster speed between the figures at the bottom. You could keep the nose down. You don't have to pull all the way to level. You can pull the nose so it's a little down, so you can accelerate between these figures. You can pull tighter in this half loop up. That will help you get more energy. That's fundamental. That might be affecting how the snap looks as well. But I think there's just not enough rudder. It's not in all the way, and it's not in soon enough. And I think that's what's going on. It's a little hard to tell without seeing your hands and your feet, but focus on getting the stick back very briskly and then unloading with a stick before you add aileron, back and forth before the aileron comes in. And the rudder coming in at the same time that the stick is loaded, at the same time it moves back, maybe slightly after, but let's just say for now the exact same time, and make sure the rudder goes in all the way. Let's focus on that before we try fixing anything else about it, but those are the things I think are going on. Okay. And now it's pushed to 45, 2 of 2. I don't think that's probably 45. I think you're shallow. And this all feels very rushed. So again, we're just kind of rushing through. Push to 45. 1, 2. There's almost not enough stop for the judges to see the stop. You're actually risking that someone will say no stop. I know it looks like a lot, but it happens all the time when the plane gets to horizontal. It just doesn't sometimes look like it's stopped. So you need to hold that at least twice as long. And also the line itself, unless you're up against your altitude limits, in which case you should be starting higher, or the VNE, in which case you might be able to start slower on this figure. Maybe you can't, but if it's VNE, there might not be much you can do, but as much as you can, give more space to this. And I think the line is just a little shallow. I think I said that already. Now we have a pull to vertical. It's a bow tie. Pull to vertical, which looks a good pull. Okay, good. And now pull back to 45 down. We'll have a 2 of 4 down. that looks good. Very nice. There's one, two. Okay, again, really the plane is, I would say the judges would be justified in this one of saying there was no stop, because I'm not seeing a stop even from the cockpit. Yeah, it may be a stop. It's definitely a slowdown, but it should be clearly a stop. It's possible that stop, but I'm not sure. Okay, so that's the advice there, is to hold those points more. Now pull level. Now the next thing we have is figure 8, which is a pull vertical, half roll, and then a push Humpty. Okay, a little on your back there. We're not going to critique that. You just keep working on that. Push, and then more push here. More push here, because we have to avoid closing low. Now we have a 3/4 roll. And short after, not really any line after to speak of, just very, very little line after. So we need to get more line after there. Let's watch this again. Here's the roll, stop. Almost immediately, need to have a little more space there. Okay, pull vertical, 3/4 roll. And this will be a hammerhead with a 3/4 roll up. You like to roll right. Most people like to roll left. It's interesting. It's just fine though. Okay, now we have a 3/4 snap, which you must be doing to the right. Yep. Yeah, that's now this is I think the 4th snap, and I'm getting a better handle on what I'm seeing here. So we're gonna have our hammerhead, which is fine. Yeah. Pull the stick. Let's just do this. Pull the stick back, put the rudder in all the way, push the stick forward, and then I'll let you have about 25% of the aileron you're using right now. Just because I think the aileron's driving everything, and I think it's better for you if you just back off the aileron a bit for maybe 100 snaps or so until you are really learning to use the foot to make the snap happen. The aileron is really helpful. You need an aileron. And I know if I tell you 25%, you're probably going to do 75%. So there's a little bit of gamesmanship here. But I really looks like from this one in particular, you're pulling the stick back and then just moving it over to get the snap. And you need to have rudder in all the way before the aileron comes in, or you're just going to be assisting the roll with the rudder. You're not really doing a snap roll. So I'm worried you're going to get a 0 for some of these, or what would they would do at CIVA as a perception 0. I don't want to see that happen to you. So I also, I noticed this is another short after here. Not really a line after at all. There's a line, but it's not enough. Okay. Last figure is going to be another bow tie. Pull to 45. Good pull. 1, 2, 3, 4. Those are good stops. Just too quick. It's not that your stops are wrong. They're just not enough to get you the score you want to get. So let's make those bigger. And now pull 45 up, which is good. And then push. So one criticism I'll have on your sequence design here is that I feel like figure 10 should end with more, just for your benefit and presentation. And we're going to continue. I think you're doing some freestyle stuff. Yeah. Okay, let's stop before I come back to this. Your figure 10, it's nice if your sequence ends with kind of a bang, something really exciting. And that would mean a roll element or a snap roll or something, or the roller. Often people put the roller at the end. That's fine too. But 45 up, pushing level, it's not wrong. There's nothing in the rules that's against it. And I'm not really sure what the judges will say about it, but I just think probably you could end with something a little more interesting. So think about that a little bit. And let's watch your freestyle stuff. Why not? I don't usually do this. Sometimes people put extra stuff at the end. I usually just ignore it, but let's just see what you're doing here. Okay, good. That's kind of a classic left-footed tumble. Okay, and ending in kind of a roll. Okay, so I would just give you some advice on that too, because why not? That it's better if you put the rudder in first, and then follow up with aileron. So rudder all the way, and you might now. I don't think you do. Yeah, I think you're going to the corner too quickly with a stick. It's better to have rudder in and then push forward, then go to the corner. That'll usually make these things a little crisper. You might get another, a half tumble out of it. It depends on the airplane. Maybe what you're doing is the best you can do, but I'm just going to throw that out. Give that a try. And then, as far as the recovery goes, it's good to recover like you did on a line. That's good. Maybe that's all we have here. Yeah, much better to recover on a particular angle, a chosen angle, than it is just to flop around. That looks a lot better. You can also do that same tumble on a vertical line up, which looks really nice. Maybe give that a try. A little safer for you too, because your energy's going all the way up. So I think that's probably it. Well, you're going to do a flyby, but I don't think we need to score that necessarily, even though it is cool. Sorry, I like watching this. Yeah, neat. Okay, well, I don't want to go and start critiquing all these kinds of things. I think it's not what the channel's about, even though I think it's interesting. You can always ask me questions about the freestyle stuff. I enjoy that as well. Hey, great flying. So themes for you are hitting your lines. Maybe the snaps, I think, is just going back to fundamentals, really. The load and then the rudder. And you could even start playing with getting yourself just above stall speed and level flight and only doing load and rudder all the way in. And then after you do that a few times, load, rudder all the way in, and then unload without aileron. And then next would be load, rudder, unload, and hook. I think go back to that. And what I think you might see is that the snap just feels a lot different and feels better. It'll feel more like a snap. I can't tell from a head cam video, unfortunately, but I wonder if you're feeling more like a shoulder roll in some of these than you are a snap. Maybe. But I would go back to the fundamentals and make sure you're convincing yourself that you're getting good technique in there. And other things I would say is the spin. I can't tell from this video if you have the right spin technique because of the way it just fell into the spin. But you went up and sort of did like a Humpty and were all the way down here before the spin started. So I don't know, but it should be a line with the nose high. You should have the stick. It's an inverted spin, stick all the way forward. The nose will drop, and the moment the nose drops, even a millimeter, but only after it actually does drop, the rudder goes in all the way, and the spin should begin pretty easily. And maybe you already know that. It might have just been bad execution because of your energy state. But if not, then that's the technique you should use. All the rolls, I would like to see quite a bit more more time spent on the points. And I'd like to see a little more breathing room between some of these figures. I would say figure 5 to figure 6. They can be challenging to put together back to back because of the roll elements and how much room you have in the box. But since you've chosen to do that, I think you really need to have them still presented well, and that means you need to have a little more space between 5 and 6, as well as probably 6 and 7. You might want to consider revisiting the sequence. I don't have good advice for you on this; it's too complicated to go into in the channel. But you might be able to find some ways to make the sequence more better able to fit in the box and give you the space and time you need to set things up. I feel like it just gets a little rushed in there. And other than that, hammerheads look good. Rolls look pretty good. I like the rolls. They look like you're using the rudder correctly and the elevator correctly. Vertical stops, they look like you were hunting a little bit. Just keep practicing those. And I think that's probably it. Good stuff. Well, I hope to see you fly again some more soon, and I hope to see you in Las Vegas in whatever it is, 2022, I think it is, for the Advanced Airback Championships there. It's going to be amazing. We're going to have so many great people in the U.S., and I look forward to meeting you, Guilherme, if you get up here. Thanks a lot. Thanks for stopping by, everybody who came by the channel. I'll see you guys again really soon. Bye-bye.